Hello, everyone. We're going to do a quick lesson today on one of the assignments that's coming up for week 7 and 8 in module 4. This is actually one of my favorite assignments that we do through this Learning Frameworks course. So I wanted to go through the content and kind of explain what this True Colors Assessment is. It is a personality assessment tool. So this is actually going to help you identify your personality preferences and strengths. So I'm going to go through the quick PowerPoint and then show you guys where you can find the assessment and how to turn it in today. So this is our True Colors assignment here. And like I said, True Colors is a personality assessment. It's a tool that is designed to help you all understand your personality preferences and strengths. It is based on work of psychologists Don Lowry and David Kersey. And this True Colors assessment is built upon this framework. So you can kind of see once you've done the personality assessment, it breaks the four color groups down. And some of you might have done this before if you've been an Avid or maybe even English as an icebreaker. But just to kind of go through the different four groups that could distinguish your personality traits. So you'll see there's four colors here. You'll have the blue, which this personality trait is more like for empathy, compassion, and focus on building meaningful relationships. Blues are often described as nurturing, supportive, and sensitive people. And then gold is your next color. It is people that are organized, dependable, detail oriented. These students typically are very structured. They show a lot of responsibility. They're reliable. You would see a lot of your gold people as leaders in some instances. And so they're more of the reliable, leadership type students. The next one is the green. And so this personality type is more of an analytical or a logical thinker. They're problem solvers, innovators. Typically, the green student is an independent thinker and shows some sort of expertise in a content. A lot of the green people you might see, like example, like in NASA, they're problem solvers, they're innovators. These are independent thinkers that can kind of think outside of the box to find a solution to a problem. Okay. The next one is your orange. These students are known as being very energetic, spontaneous, adventure natures. They thrive on excitement and often are described as flexible, resourceful, and action oriented. I will say in the assessments, you may find yourself falling in between two of the colors. Like, for instance, my colors are gold and orange. And then my next color would be blue, but I'm predominantly gold with, right below it, orange and then blue. I wouldn't say, like, for me, I'm not a real analytical thinker. I do like to problem solve, but it's not really my thing to really have to think out of a box to come up with some sort of solution unless it's something that I'm like an expert at. Okay. But and that's what this assessment really is about, guys. It's about, identifying your strengths and knowing your personality types. And we're going to talk about why and all the things to that. So which leads into our why. So why do we do these assessments? It's actually beneficial to, understand yourself and others. A lot of people will do this assessment with the birds. I'm sure some of you have heard like the owl, the dove, all those. It's kind of similar, but it really does give you a better understanding of yourself and others around you. It allows you to identify your individual differences. It provides you self awareness. And also, to really be honest with you, I know a lot of companies do this as an icebreaker for their employees. If they're doing something like as a team building, that way you can really learn a lot about your coworker and people within your workplace, so you understand kind of what their personalities are. And we went through the four different colors of the what, but your results at the end of this will definitely let you identify a primary color and a secondary color. So, like I said, my primary color is gold. So here, and then my secondary color is orange. Okay. So when you do your assessment, when I'll show you an example here in just a second, you'll be able to identify your primary and your secondary. Okay. And so this is just kind of an example of what the quiz looks like once you've answered all the questions. And guys, I will tell you, like, be truthful in the assessment. This isn't a I got you thing. This is more of for you so that you can understand kind of what personality type you have. And this will actually help you better interact with other people later on down the lifeline. But here, once you've completed your quiz, it'll give you these results here, and it'll tell you your true color is gold. Okay, so it'll give you this as your gold, and if you notice, the next color is green. Okay, so this would be your primary, this would be your secondary. And then, of course, it's got the blue and then the orange. So it'll tell you, as gold, you are stable, organized achiever by nature. And then it'll give you some typical gold traits. So the gold students are self-sufficient, they're committed. Like I said, these are going to be your leaders. Okay. And then green is the secondary. So green students, again, you might find yourself as an innovator. You like things that are systematic and logical order. You seem to be driven by knowledge and problem solving. A lot of the green students oftentimes are students that love to do research and they like to help make tough decisions. So you would see a lot of this, like maybe a lawyer would be somebody that's green. And again, like I said, NASA definitely would be somebody, that might be green because they're constantly doing research in that. And so some of the typical things that you're going to see in the green students is, they're 98% right. They're tough minded. They're original. They're unique. They're thinking out of the box. They're great planners. They're able to find flaws and they're holding firm to policy. They are the rule followers. Okay. So you're green people. If you're green, you know what I'm talking about. You follow the rules, you follow the policy, right? You don't ever go outside of that. What other people might see about green is they might think that you're, an intellectual snob or arrogant, maybe unappreciative. You're critical, fault finding. You might be eccentric, maybe weird. But those are how, other people are foreseeing green people. What they don't understand is that you guys are great planners, you're intellectual, you're original, unique, all those things. Okay. So let's scroll on down here and talk about the gold. So gold, again, is represented as being authentic, being dependable, and tradition. Golds may desire structure, unity, and organization to thrive. A lack of order could make a gold individual feel worried or unstable. Gold often values integrity and responsibility and might prove to be trustworthy to friends and reliable employees. However, golds, it isn't necessarily all business for golds. They may take pride in being present for their loved ones and have solid family values. So, again, these are more of your leader type people. And what you'll see in the gold people, you'll see that they're very stable. They provide security, they're dependable, they're always there. They're efficient, realistic. They execute plans very well. They're good planners, they're punctual, and they expect the same. What others might see as gold people, they would typically see those people as being controlling and bossy, maybe stubborn and opinionated, is something I always hear. They set their own agenda, and they're limiting flexibility. So, I mean, although being a gold is great, trying to find that balance between a gold and a different color really helps because it does offset some of these personality traits. Okay. And then the blues. Can't forget about these blues. They are the blue people, they're the best. They are very emotional. They're centered around social connections. Blues may not only enjoy socializing, but they love to seek out connections with others. They may find happiness in relationships with coworkers, friends, families, partners, whatever it may be. Blues might go out of their way to find a solution when there's a conflict, but they're very compassionate, very caring. They're compassionate communicators. They're caretakers. So you may see, like as an example, like a nurse be a blue person. Because they're very empathetic. They find their love and joy out of caring for others. Okay. And so what will you see in the blue people, right? You'll see people that are warm and caring. They're trusting, they're romantic, creative. They're a people person. They love to be around people. They're friendly. They're very empathetic. And unselfish. So, if you're a blue person, this is a great trait to have, to be empathetic and unselfish, and trustworthy. I mean, these blue people, they have a lot of trust. And so that's a great characteristic trait to have. How others may perceive blue students is they may see them as being over emotional, too trusting, maybe too nice. I oftentimes have people tell me that my children are too nice. And so a lot of their blue characteristics come out in them. Other people might think that they are, they ignore the policy, they create chaos. But in all reality, these really are your empathetic, sweet, loving, caring people. Okay. And then you have the orange. So I found it very interesting that I was predominantly gold because I really thought before taking this, I would end up predominantly orange just because I am very bubbly and outgoing and fun loving. I love a challenge. I love competition. Um, but also, these orange people, they find adventures, and they like the excitement. And so I really did feel like myself, I would be more predominantly orange than I was gold. But like I said, my secondary color was the orange. So what do we see in the what you would see in the orange people? So fun loving, enjoys life, very flexible and adaptable to anything. They're pretty practical people. They're problem solvers, good negotiators. So your salespeople are really going to be falling into this orange color. They're multitaskers. They do many things at once. And if you know myself in this role at Permian, you know that I wear several different hats here. And I have lots of things going on my plate at one time. So again, like I said, I really did think my predominant color would have been orange, but again, it was secondary. But how others perceive the orange people, they see them as irresponsible, wishy-washy, not serious, not interested in ideas, not able to stay on task, and cluttered. I will say, guys, if you've been in my office, you understand that it is sometimes cluttered in here with massive different things going on at one time. But I can assure you that I know where everything is in my office. Everything has a place. But a lot of times other people see it as that, I'm not organized. So, in a nutshell, when you do your personality assessment, what is one word you would use to describe yourself as it relates to your color? And so, when you're doing your journal assignment, this is something that I would really like to see inside your journal assignment is, what is one word you would use to describe yourself as it relates to your color? And so, for me, since I am predominantly gold, one the first word that comes to mind for me is a leader. I'm somebody that can be depended on as a leader here at Permian. I tend to think I'm a very good planner. Sometimes it doesn't always fall through. But if I had one word to describe myself, it would definitely be dependable and or a leader. And that's kind of what I want you guys to identify after you've done your personality assessment is what is that one word that describes yourself as it relates to the color that you see in your results. Okay. And then how does this apply to learning frameworks? How does this apply to being a college student? Um, and I will tell you guys, when you go to college, you will meet so many people. And even if you're not going to college and you're going straight into the workforce, you're still going to meet so many people. And it's so cool because I always, even to this day, and I've done this assessment long time ago, I always refer to back to the color wheel and to the birds of the owl and the dove, because it really does help you identify who you are as a person. And then also it allows you to understand other people. So like now, even being in the role that I'm in, I'm able to be like, oh, that person is a dove or that person is blue by the way their personality sets. And so just being able to understand other people, not just yourself, this tool is really cool. It's something that you'll carry through from now until forever, really. I mean, like I said, I've done this assessment multiple times, but the first time I ever saw it was a long time ago. And it also, something interesting about this is that this will identify some of the things that you may or may not be interested in a career, right? If you don't land as a, blue, it's not your secondary color. I don't know necessarily that you want to go out and be a caretaker or a nurse. And I could be wrong there because there is other traits to the other colors for nursing. But it does give you a good idea kind of what your job preferences are. Are you somebody that could thrive in sales? Then you would be, if you're an orange, that's one of the key takeaways from the orange color here. And you can see it right here is just like being a good negotiator. In sales, we all know that you have to be a good negotiator in sales, right? To land the sale. So that kind of gives you some ideas of, what career based on your personality assessment, what careers could you see yourself in just based on, how your results are in the color wheel. And then also like, how is this applying to your relationships, whether it be your relationship with your parents, your teachers, your students, other students, your coworkers, even one day, if and when you become a leader, it's really important to know the different various colors when you have multiple personalities with multiple people in the workforce, right? Because everybody's different. So I just kind of want to go over a couple of these things. So like if you're an orange, then you're often seeking recognition and praise. Like you like to be told, hey, good job, or hey, you like to be recognized, right? Blues, all they want is acceptance. That's all they're looking for. They just want to be accepted into the world, and communication is big with them. Okay. The gold people may want some stability and order. Stability meaning that, you feel good about maybe your job. Things are going great in the oil and gas industry, so you feel stable in the work that you're doing, and then also following some sort of order and process. Okay. And then greens, they just want to be appreciated of their ideas. Like they just want that validation that their ideas were great. And so you may be a green, you may turn out being green here. And that's kind of what you're looking for. The behavior there is that greens typically they want to be appreciated for their ideas. Okay. So just understanding the different relationships and the colors and how it applies into life, it really truly is eye-opening. And I hope you guys find some of the answers that maybe you did not or did know. I'm interested to read what you find in your journals. Okay. And so with that, let me show you really quickly where that assignment is located. I'm going to just click over to student preview so that you can see it from your lens here. So like I said, it's in week 7 and 8, module 4. You're going to click on the module. You'll find the PowerPoint presentation that I just went over in True Colors. So you can, everything that I went through in the lesson, you can find here in the PowerPoint. For the assignments for this particular module, you'll click on your assignments here. And this is the actual true personality assessment. So you'll click on here, you're going to go view your instructions, and then you're going to click on the actual link for the assessment. And then once you're done with the assessment, you're going to take a screenshot here, just like this one here. And then you're going to attach your screenshot into the box and then hit submit. Okay. That's one assignment for the True Colors Personality Assessment. Okay. The other two are the discussion post. So the True Colors Survival Scenario. I'll go through this really quickly, but imagine you're stranded on a desert island. In this scenario, you have one person from each true color. How would you survive? Assign tasks based on the traits of each color. So, like, here's what I would say, guys. Think about the color palette and identify one friend out of each of those color palettes. And then how would you survive with all the 4 different personalities? Okay. I will say, make sure that you do your survival post, right? And then you need to make sure that you guys are commenting on at least 2 of your classmates, right? And those have to be 50 words per comment. I am finding in other modules that this is something that students are losing points for, is that they're not commenting on 2 other classmates' posts, and this is crucial. And so just make sure that on all discussion posts that you are doing the minimum of 50 words per student. Okay. And then once you've done that, then this is the reflection. So what I would like to see here is put some thought into this, guys. This is important. The journals are for your learning reflection. Okay. All journals must be 6 to 10 sentences long. But what I'm really looking for here is drawing connections between your true color results, the multiple intelligence assessment, and your learning style. Okay. Give me some examples of how you might apply this particular information in a class that you will take in the future, or maybe in a job that you will have in the future. Okay. And then how does your color reflect in your day-to-day life and in our learning frameworks course? Okay. So think about your colors, think about the things that you're involved in, if you are involved in anything, and how is your predominant color, how is that reflected in your day-to-day life? Okay. And like I said, 6 to 10 sentences here. Really put some thought into this. I am excited to read kind of what you guys have to say about it. I think, again, you're going to learn some things about yourself when you're doing the personality assessment, but just know that, like, to take some time to reflect and write your thoughts down. I'd love to hear it. Love to hear, what your takeaways were from the personality assessment. Okay. And as always, if you guys have questions, please don't hesitate to come see me. My office is located in M6 at Permian. So I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you guys might have, or if the link's not working, don't hesitate to stop by. But until then, I guess I'll see you guys in the hallways. Have a great day.